Karen Carney and Joe Cole watching with me. And Karen, at the start of this game, we said this was going to be a good gauge. We would find out a lot about exactly where these two teams are at in relation to the rest of the season. What were the big things that we learned?
I think from a City's perspective, I was surprised at how disconnected they were today as opposed to last week, where I was like, wow, it felt like City was back last week. And today, totally different performance. Just in possession, they wasn't sure, they wasn't positive, taking people on and looked vulnerable. And credit to Spurs. Brilliant game plan, really structured, really disciplined, and picked the moments and executed the game plan superbly.
It just goes to show, Joe, you can't get carried away after one game, and we do need a bigger sample size.
Yeah, of course you do. And it was a different test for Manchester City today. Tottenham came here and Thomas Frank set up his team fantastically well. And you've got to give the credit to the lads. The work rate and effort that's already instilled into this team. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're going to have to see how it unfolds as the season goes on. But for Spurs fans, they'll be looking at that and licking their lips because you've got midfielders with talent, with aggression. They're grafting for each other.
And all different attributes as well.
All sorts, you know. And the window's still not shut. You've got Solanke on the bench, Richarlison who's reborn. So many positives for Tottenham.
OK, let's have a look at that first goal, Joe, as well. Because one of the things we saw in that first half was Spurs pulling the City fullbacks out of position.
Lewis, this is what they're doing is all day. They were taking Lewis and both fullbacks out of position, getting it in. And then what they do is then they attack down the wings and they get overloads. You look at Lewis there and that space, and they were just feeding it into positions. And Manchester City could not deal with that. And the goal came from that as well. Again, it's a goal kick. They're not fiddling about with it. Take Aki right high. Sarr sees the space, he runs into it, gets a flick on, run, and all of the Tottenham, they're breaking into the box. It's a good ball in from Richarlison. It's a wonderful finish. But what they did so well, they were doing that consistently, dragging Manchester City centre-halves out of position. Look, cross is coming in, there's not a centre-half in sight. And that was happening too often. Like I said, Manchester City will have to brush up on that if they're going to improve. But Tottenham have got all the attributes to hit not just Manchester City, many teams. I fancy them against the top 4 or 5 because the way they play is a real nightmare for a possession-based team because they've got such willing runners and such good quality just to feed it in there.
And the second goal, another avoidable one, Karen, for Manchester City.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember that these are set pieces and Thomas Frank really focuses on them. James Trafford just got to play it simple, and he doesn't. He plays it right into a trap, and credit to Spurs, pounce on it, and obviously Polini there finishes. These are the options that he has. Just play it there to your right, to your centre-back, to Stones. He's got the time and space and you can build out. Or 1v1 with Haaland. But instead you play it into the right of the trap there where Tottenham are going, go on, put it in there. As soon as they do it, bang, we snap in, we're physical, we're aggressive. And now all of a sudden you're scrambling. And I did feel that Trafford, after that moment, he really lost his confidence in the game. And it completely rattled Man City today. Couldn't deal with the press and just didn't have really any solutions to it. But credit to Spurs.
How hard will that be for James Trafford to respond to, Joe, to go from such a good performance last week to that happening today?
It's the life of a goalkeeper. You know, it's high tariff, Linz. You know, one week you're the hero, the next week something like that, and then people will ask questions. You know, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast when you are a goalkeeper. So, listen, he's a young man. I've got full faith in him. I've watched him play at Burnley last year. He was outstanding. For England under 21s, it was brilliant. And you don't play for Manchester City, you don't play for Pep unless you know what you're doing. What wouldn't have helped him is the Donnarumma noise that is coming out in and around it. You know.
Will that step up now? Do you think even more?
Well, listen, I see, and what I know of the lad and what you hear about him from people who've worked with him is that he will step up. You know, and that's what you need. So you have to go through the fire with goalkeeper. Every goalkeeper would tell you they've made mistakes like that in their younger days, and you have to go through the fire and come through. I thought he looked a little bit shaky afterwards, but overall there was no more mistakes after that game. So you just put that to bed and move on now for him.
Joel already talked about that Spurs midfield, Karen. He made the changes from last week, but does that just go the strength and depth he has in those areas and the qualities they've got? Yeah,
I mean, he's obviously he's brought in Polini back into the team today, and obviously I think Ali gave him player of the match. He was instrumental in both goals, and obviously Polini then gets his second as well. But the physical nature of them, the game understanding, the experience of both of them, I love this, celebrating blocks, tackles. You know, this is what we saw from Polini when he was in his time at Fulham, and it's reading of the game. And you know, when you're playing against City, you need people just to block those little passes, and Tapia there doing really well. But what they But what they did really well though was, Joe, they found the lem pass and then built on top of that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They were outstanding. And that man in your picture there is coming to speak to us. He'd be delighted with his team. The way that they took on task. You know, this place is like, over the last 10 years, the most difficult place to come in the Premier League. It's been very, very difficult. And he's set up his team, and they've done a job. And they right to the endings as well. It wasn't just for it was all through the game.
Hi, Thomas.
Well done, boss.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you for coming out to join us, Thomas, and congratulations. Just tell us what makes you the most proud after that performance.
Now, I think this is one of the most difficult places to go to in the Premier League. A City side that need to bounce back from last season. You can see they came with everything. And I think before our goal, I think without them dominating us, they were more on top overall in the game. But we stayed in it. We're solid, top mentality. And, there will be games like this. We also early days. I know not even if we're early days, let's say in 3 years' time, we are fantastic. It's still tough in games to come here, for example. And then after the 1-0 goal, I think actually we were more or less the better side. And I'm very impressed with how we stepped up second half. And there were some big moments where we could have killed the game off.
I was going to ask about that second half as well, because you said it's early days, but have we already seen sort of a little evolution and lessons learned after what happened in the PSG game, the way you managed that second half?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think this is also 10 days later, so it's not only the learning from that game, also the learning from that game, but I think especially the high pressure was consistently good second half, and they struggled to get out of that. And that I'm very happy with.
Thomas, can I say, sorry, fantastic performance first and foremost, and a great result. For you coming into Spurs, it's an unusual time to come into a club because such a difficult season in the league, but they'd won a trophy. So what did you find when you walked into the room in terms of the confidence and the mentality of the players?
I think I found actually a very strong mentality in the players. It was a group of players that's been, through a tough season, ending on a high. But I think that those tough moments had, pulled them even closer together. So great mentality in many ways. And then we had to build on that. Yeah.
Have you noticed more scrutiny? It's obviously it's a huge club, Tottenham, and there's all the eyes are on you now, and there's expectations. Have you noticed that's ramped up from your previous clubs?
I would say, of course, I'm aware of it, but I'm not on social media.
Yeah.
I very rarely.
Good choice.
Yeah, thank you.
Wise man.
I'm because of what you just said there.
Yeah.
I don't think it does any good to anyone, in my opinion. Secondly, I read very, very little in the media.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't give me any good. Half of it is, I can't swear, so half of it is wrong, and half of it is just, clickbait.
Yeah.
So I doesn't read too much. And I think, how can you say, I love football, but the other bit, I don't care.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thomas, you're obviously really big on set pieces. And one thing I picked up on is how aggressive you were from their goal kicks, but also the detail from your goal kicks, which actually led to both goals. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Thank you.
Is that not true?
Yeah, I think definitely big on set piece, and I agree. On our goal kick, we tried to play out, and think that was quite successful at times. But the big thing is how we press from a goal kick, and how that's also linked to the high pressure. And as you can see, we go man, and that's big for us, big for me.
Thomas, you're only the second manager who's come here with two different clubs in the Premier League and one away at Man City, joining Antonio Conte against Pep Guardiola. Just how proud does that make you on a personal level, that achievement?
First and foremost, Pep is, I've said it before, I think he's an unbelievable manager. He's been a manager I've been looking up to for many years, studied, followed in detail. The other manager, Conte, is also a manager I've studied for many years. So it's two of the big boys. So I'm proud of that, yeah.
And can I ask you about Richarlison today? He got an assist on top of his 2 goals last week as well. Is that position now up front for Dominic Solanke to try and get back in there? And how much do you like having that competition?
I think, again, Richie, performed well today. Top assist, presence up there, work ethic, everything was very good about it. and we need 2 good strikers. We're going to play a lot of games. And of course, Richie is now starting, so we just need to keep his shirt.
And just over a week left of the transfer window.
Sorry.
Just over a week left of that window. Obviously, a lot of talk this week about a player who didn't arrive. But what would be the ideal for you before the end of that window? What do you want?
I think we, as showed today, we have a strong squad, a strong group of players that I believe a lot in. Of course, we would like to add a bit, but only if we can strengthen the squad. So yeah, we're looking to adding, hopefully succeeding. I know the club is working very hard, and I trust them.
Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, boss.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thomas, well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Thomas